life. If you wanna get the info that'll help you throughout your life, yeah.
Hello, and welcome again to this edition of The Boomer Beat. I'm your host, Beverly Mahone, and today, my very special guest is Tyler Fisher. Now, I know you're looking at Tyler and you're thinking, he's not the typical looking kind of guest she normally has on her show. And yeah, you're right. He is not the typical age of the guests that I have on the show. As a matter of fact, he is a member of the Generation Z. But Tyler and I share something very special in common because we are both authors. That's right. He is an author at 20 something years old. He's written 2 books and getting ready to produce a third one. So we're going to talk to Tyler today about his inspiration behind writing. Hi, Tyler. How are you?
Hey, Miss Beverly, how you doing?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for asking. Okay, so what was the inspiration? When did you know that you liked writing? How old were you?
I about 13, 12, and it was really a habit that formed into a passion. So I noticed I would jot down my ideas and notes and notepads and stuff. But in that time in my life, football was the forefront. So I wasn't really focused on writing. I was just doing it like as a side thing, just unconsciously just writing so many notes about the way I perceived life, the way what I was going through, and eventually um, going through the process of high school football and all the emotions and ups and downs and adversity. My notes were piling up so much to where I was like, let me create a book. So I started writing the outline for Cardiac Cardinals, and once my senior year when I got injured, um, that shifted my whole life. And once I got through my depression, I was like, let me just publish all these notes I have, and that's how I came up with my first book, Cardiac Cardinals.
And what is Cardiac Cardinals about?
Cardiac Cardinals is how I came to find my inner worth and how I went through the adversity from poverty and high school football.
Okay, very good. And it's so interesting because I do want to share with my audience that Tyler came to me as a student because I am a writing consultant at North Carolina Central University, and he came to me several months ago with his story. He was applying for a scholarship with the McDonald's Corporation, and that's how I learned of his story. But I didn't really learn of your story. I had to dig it out of you because I mean, you came in with something totally different. So I had no idea that football had been the forefront. So isn't it interesting to you that had you not been injured, that you could have gone on to a pro career and perhaps writing would have never been something you would have thought about? Or do you think that somewhere in your life later on, writing, you would have come back to it?
I feel like somewhere along the road, I would have came back to creating content. I don't know if it would have been writing. I just don't know. It shifted that situation of me not completing my senior year season, something I worked prepared for, and got injured right before my first game. It shifted my whole way of thinking in life. So I'm not for sure what my life would have been with the career in football. I know it would have been promising, but I honestly just glad I'm on the path that I'm on. Um, honestly, if that,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So when um, my mindset shifted to writing and publishing a book, uh, it got me into start listening more, thinking more, and about my situation. I don't think my generation or Black people in general think enough or listen enough. And I was listening to athletes that are still playing. I was listening to people who were in my situation and how they gave up their hope, and their aspirations and how life can be so overbearing. Um, and I was really just compiling all this information, and that's why I continue to write, because there's so many voices that need to be heard and so many perspectives that needs to be brought to the world. So I'm just glad I'm on this path. It feels right and it feels good.
All right, so tell me about your current status. You are a student at North Carolina Central University in Durham, North Carolina. What is your major, and when will you be graduating?
So I'm at North Carolina Central University. Like you said, I am a mass communications major with a minor in public relations. I am a creative director for Collegiate 100 and a part of the AAMI, which stands for African American Male Initiative. And I graduate sometime in May 2022. So,
Okay,
um,
you've got some time.
yes, ma'am, I have a year and a semester. I'm counting down.
And I guess I'll be working with you during that time frame. So let's talk about like we met. So like I said, we met because you came to me because you had a essay that you were trying to submit to McDonald's. And as I said, we struggled through it because there were a lot of details that were missing from that essay that we had to talk through. So this is maybe this is a shameless plug. I don't know, but tell me how brainstorming with someone helped you to develop your ideas and your mindset in order to write a successful essay. Because I have to say, when I got the email that said that you had got the scholarship, I just broke down in tears because I knew you would get it, but I mean, it just was like so exciting to hear it. So tell me about that process.
So throughout the whole process, first of all, I appreciate your assistance on the process, but bringing an unbiased or biased perspective to my writing um, showed me what I should be focusing on, um, which is the story, the why, the the specifics of what I want to do. So bringing having somebody else look at my work and see what I need to critique on, it really opened my eyes up to see it really be it's really the small things when it comes to writing and clarifying those messages. So definitely getting that help to get someone else's perspective, getting your perspective on my writing really opened my eyes up to see the bigger and smaller picture. And I was able to convey those messages
So
through
excited.
words. So
Okay, so why
that
don't
was
you
it.
do us the honor and read a couple of excerpts from either book? I've
Oh,
already read Fried Chicken and Yams, but you can certainly read that one as well. Oh, that's a thick book.
oh yeah, it took me, I had a lot of notes. I was taking a lot of notes.
How long? Okay, so okay, that's the accumulation of notes over how long of a period of time?
2 to 3 years, maybe four, but about 3 years.
Wow. Isn't that interesting? Because my very first book was a journal too. And
Wow.
it took me about a year to really get through the process. So I totally understand how that happened. Okay, so give us a page or two. Read us something about the book. This is the Cardiac Cardinals, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Cardiac.
Okay.
Okay, so throughout my book, I go through a story of from point A to point B, and at the end, I give at least 20 pages of conclusion on what I learned. And this is the grind phase, um, and it goes through um, what I learned about being myself and what I learned that I should really be focusing on. So it starts with leader, be you. Don't fall into the social standard that you don't like or have to conform to. In today's time with social media, there are trends and so-called idols. Um, and this that platform is called clout. Some are good, some are not. Even everything comes down to a choice, but you have to live your life by the guidelines that by peers or social media. You don't have to live your guidelines by those. Be you and do whatever you need to do to be a better person. Be willing to separate yourself in order to manifest your mind. It is okay to be lonely sometimes, as long as you're growing personally in a positive space. Your difference is your destiny. So do not try to fit in and be crazy with your dream. Preparation is used in many steps. Overnight success does not last long, and it is proven. Aim for longevity and stability through preparation. As hard as it is to make it to the peak of your success, it is easier to fall back down where you used to be.
Wow.
So take your time. It's okay if things are not going as fast as you want them to. You don't want to rush the process and ultimately put yourself behind. So
Wow.
that's
That is
just
something that I have to tell you this, Tyler, just before you go and continue. That is something that everybody could use because we all should be dreaming no matter how old we are. I know you focused on young people, but I found some value in that as well. That was deep.
yeah, I believe when dreaming and wanting to accomplish your goals, it doesn't have an age limit on it. You can be 5, you can be 60, 70, 50. My age, it doesn't really matter. And honestly, I really do, and what I've seen and what I've studied is really the dream really keeps your spirit alive. You know, it makes you feel younger in any stage of your life. It just gives you that life. So I encourage everybody to dream and do what they like, because you I feel like true happiness is doing what you like. So um that's a big thing for me, is accomplishing my goals and dreams.
You're dropping a lot of wisdom for a young man, that's for sure. I mean, I'm like, whoa, that's something that people. Well, anyway, okay, very good. So, do you want to read a couple of pages from Fried Chicken and Yams? I especially loved the last part. Yeah, I'm surely that I couldn't read it like you did, but I just thought it was just excellent. So, yeah, just read a couple of pages from there as well.
Okay, I could start from here. Alex looked at the plate and did not know where to start. He couldn't be more thankful from the bottom of his heart. When Alex took his first munch, he liked the way the crispy chicken would crunch. There was so much flavor, it was nothing like school lunch. Alex could not forget about his green leafy spinach, because he knows everything is a blessing and a privilege. Alex was thankful for the little things, which gave him a great attitude. And when he was done eating, he was filled with more gratitude. Alex knows times are tough, but he knows his mom still provides him with enough, from the clothes on his body and the shoes on his feet, to have a place to sleep and enough food to eat, from the toys that he is blessed with and the friends that he plays with. Yes, Alex does not have everything, but with his gratefulness, he can achieve anything.
Yes.
Alex goes to bed with his prayers and dreams, and he knows life is better than what it seems. What are you grateful for? So that's just concluding towards the end of how he found his gratefulness.
Yes, I loved it. I loved it. So now this book was created as a result of winning the scholarship, correct?
So the book was created. I created this book in no. I published this book in November. I used the scholarship to purchase 650 copies of my children's book so I can donate it to Fayetteville Elementary and CC Spalding. I really feel like reading is fundamental, and I feel like uh, using my platform and taking that initiative to give back to the community, that was something I had to do and I wanted to do. So, and I actually am donating. The books just came in last week, and I'm donating them this upcoming Tuesday. So, I will be dropping them off at Fayetteville Elementary in Durham and CC Spalding Elementary. So it was this experience of me donating and giving back has been great, because I want to make reading fun again, and reading can be overlooked sometimes.
Yes. And you know what? That's another thing. I didn't even know that. You didn't even put that in your original essay. And it was so interesting. I mean, you kind of touched on it, but you didn't really give a whole lot of meat to it. And then I thought, wow, if that is really important to you, then you need to let the people who are going to make the decision about that scholarship know that that's what it means. And I really do think that that's what put you over the top. I mean, I think that ultimately the essay was well written, but I do think that because you expressed such a heart for wanting to give back, I believe that that's what put you over the top. And you need some media coverage for that. And we need to see if we can get the local stations to follow you when you go over there and make that donation. I'll see what I can do to make that happen. Who knows?
Yeah, thank you. I feel like I didn't want to wait till I become a millionaire to give back. I feel like it doesn't take you becoming rich to give back. You have sometimes, most of the time, you have to do what you can in your situation. And I feel like through that sparks the biggest change, honestly.
Very good. All right. So, with the few minutes that we do have left, do you want to share any closing thoughts, any messages of hope, or anything you just want to share about? Oh, but I do have one question before you do that.
Uh-huh.
Do you anticipate that writing will be your formal career? I know you're majoring in mass communications. What do you want to do with that degree?
Um, I want to use it as a tool, honestly. I'm in a situation where I'm a sponge, so I'm absorbing so much information. So I'm using all the tools that Central has provided, and I want to use those tools to create more content, whether it's visual or written content. So the goal is to write and produce films on TV and for big movie production. So that's the main goal. I've seen with a lot of big projects that they start with the book. So I wanted to start from the ground up and see where it takes me. So the goal is producing and writing movies and music, but I'm doing what I can now to get to that goal through Central.
Absolutely. All right. So, any closing message? Any thoughts you want to share? Any hopes?
Yes, be a progress chaser. A lot of times when you're reaching a goal, you have to go through the progress. If you don't fall in love with the progress and don't fall in love with learning lessons, the failing lessons, and learning from your mistakes, I feel like you can never truly advance to your goal or dream. So be a progress chaser, fall in love with the process, stay true to the process, believe in the process, and mainly believe in yourself throughout the process.
All right. Be a progress chaser. Okay. I love that. All right. Tyler, I want to take this opportunity to thank you so much for being my youngest guest ever. And you will probably be the youngest guest I'll ever have on the Boomer Beat. But anyway, thank you again for joining us. And thank you to everyone who will be tuning in to this episode of the Boomer Beat. And remember this, you have gifts to give the world. So continue to find your voice and prosper just like Tyler has, and stay empowered along your journey. See ya.
Thank you.
Good news you can use for your life. If you wanna get the info that'll help